Hello everyone, Science Viking here once again, and I'm back at Firelink Shrine. You can still warp to the Firelink Shrine bonfire even if you haven't restored the Firekeeper, but you can't rest at it. Let's head down there and fix that. Like I explained last time why it is that I don't think that you should use that Firekeeper soul to upgrade your Estus Flask. Return Firekeeper soul? Yes. And she's alive again. Let's talk to her.
Thank you. I am Anastasia of Astora. Now I can continue my duty as a keeper.
Aww.
But I only hope that my impure tongue does not offend. Forgive me. I am impure. My tongue never intended for restoration. Please, if you have any heart, leave me be. I wish not to speak.
Aww. But I'm still glad we brought her back to life. I feel really bad for her. Not all Firekeepers have it that bad, I think, but rest at this bonfire. And see, it's back. What's more, something I quickly want to demonstrate, one of the things we can warp to is Daughter of Chaos. Let's see where that takes us. And this is the warping animation. That takes us here. This is important because we're going to need to get to the demon ruins later, and we won't have to go through Blighttown in order to do it. But only if you went through this hidden wall. Let's head back to Firelink Shrine. Now there's something else interesting that I'm going to talk about before I give the Lordvessel to Frampt, which is something you may not know about. I'm just going to go hunt hollows while I talk about this. Is that Dark Souls actually has more than one ending. Now, if you play through the game normally and do what the NPCs tell you, you will never find out that the second ending exists. It's hidden. In order to get the you'll still get the normal ending, which involves linking the fire using the Lordvessel, and the 4 Lord Souls that Frampt will tell us to get immediately after I give him the Lordvessel. However, there's another ending. I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to tell you much about how that ending works out. Someday I may do a playthrough in which I get the alternate ending, but I'm not planning on doing it this time. In order to get the alternate ending, you can't give the Lordvessel to Frampt, you have to give it to someone else. The way that works is, at some point, you can do this relatively early, go to the New Londo, but it's easiest to do this after you have the Lordvessel. Go to the New Londo ruins. We've been there before. It's where we met the person who sold us our sorcery catalyst. And fight your way past the ghosts that you'll find in there. The way it works is you can't damage ghosts unless you either have the curse status effect, which I showed you what happens when you're cursed, or you are under the effect of the transient curse item. The transient curse item does not reduce your maximum health like actually being cursed does, but it does allow you to interact with ghosts. Fight your way past the ghosts to find the healer NPC. This is the same NPC who would cure your curse if you are cursed. If you have the Lordvessel, this NPC will give you the key to get to the lower part of the New Londo ruins. In order to get to if you don't have the Lordvessel, you have to kill this NPC in order to get to the lower part of the New Londo ruins. In addition, once you have access to the New Londo ruins, you need to kill the boss, the 4 kings, in order to get access to this NPC. Now, we'll have to kill the... Now, you can't enter the boss area where the 4 kings are without having the Art of Abyss walking, which is represented by the ring, the Covenant of Artorias. You get the Covenant of Artorias by defeating Sif the Great Grey Wolf in Deeproot Garden behind the door that's locked that I said we needed the Crest of Artorias to open. So, in order to get the alternate ending, acquire the Lordvessel, acquire the Crest of... or to get the Crest of Artorias from Andre. Use the Crest of Artorias to get to the boss, Sif the Great Grey Wolf, in Deeproot Garden. Defeat Sif to get the... defeat Sif to acquire the Covenant of Artorias. Take the Lordvessel to the healer in New Londo. Get the key to the lower part of New Londo from the healer, and then, after you've done that, defeat the Four Kings. What actually locks you into getting the alternate ending is if you defeat the Four Kings without having given the Lordvessel to Frampt. This will cause another NPC to appear. This NPC will actually give you access to a unique covenant that you cannot access in any other way, and will also accept the Lordvessel from you. Once you have given the Lordvessel to this NPC, you are locked out of getting the normal ending and will instead get the alternate ending for this playthrough. Now, we still need to defeat the Four Kings in order to complete a normal playthrough. In order to defeat the Four Kings, we'll need the Covenant of Artorias. So I am going to be fighting Sif the Great Grey Wolf and the Four Kings in this playthrough. I'm just not going to be doing it yet. So, if you want to see how to get the alternate ending, do not give the Lordvessel to Frampt. I am going to give the Lordvessel to Frampt, but if you want the alternate ending, don't give the Lordvessel to Frampt. I didn't rest at a bonfire. How are these guys alive again? Where'd they come from? That is weird. Okay, I survived that, but it's really easy to accidentally fall off of there. Do not get... Instead, skip ahead to a later part, which will be titled either Return to Deeproot Garden, Sif the Great Grey Wolf, or some combination of those two. I don't know yet because I haven't actually made that video yet. And there I'll give you instructions on how to acquire the Covenant of Artorias, and after I've acquired the Covenant of Artorias, I'll show you how to take on the Four Kings. The thing is, I'm not going to take on the Four Kings yet. The main last thing you want to take away from this video, and I'm going to repeat it again, is don't give the Lordvessel to Frampt if you want the alternate ending. Now, since I'm going to the normal ending, the next step in the process for me is to give Frampt the Lordvessel. He's asleep, so I'm just going to hit him once.
No, I'm fine.
And he's awake.
Well and wide awake. Do not treat me like an old withering snake.
I could make a joke at that, but it would probably be too dirty for YouTube. Like most of my sense of humor, actually.
Heavens! You have done it! You have retrieved the Lordvessel. After 1,000 years, it is you. It is really you.
Okay.
Forgive me. I really should calm down. Now, let us take that vessel on a journey. I assume that you are ready. Now, be still.
No, Frampt. Frampt, I've seen what you do with that mouth. I don't want to be in it. In case you wonder what I'm talking about, remember how many souls he gives you for dung. So this is actually kind of cool.
This is the Firelink Chamber for the successor of Lord.
Alright. And here we place the Lordvessel. Remember, if you want the alternate ending, don't do this yet. that never stops being awesome. It shows us several blocked areas opening. And we can rest at it, just like a normal bonfire. Offering souls to the Lordvessel means offering Lord souls, which are those things from the opening cutscene and which will be explained momentarily.
Very well. As Kingseeker, I shall now instruct you, the Lord's successor, in your next task. To achieve your fate, fill the vessel with powerful souls, commensurate to the great soul of Gwyn. Scarce few possess such brilliant souls. Grave Lord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, the 4 kings of New Londo, who inherited the shards of Gwyn's soul, and Lord Gwyn's former confidant, Seath the Scaleless. All of their souls are required to satiate the Lordvessel. Are you ready? Then we shall return. Stay still for a moment.
I have to no. I'll just warp. Just let me warp. Come on. I can warp at the Lordvessel. Okay. I'm just gonna quick shower until I no longer have any skin, and then I'll get on trying to collect those Lord souls. Okay. What we need to do now is defeat 4 bosses who are in possession of Lord souls. 3 of the 4 were mentioned in the opening cutscene. The Witch of Izalith, who has actually become the Bed of Chaos. In case you're wondering, Quelaag is one of the daughters of the Witch of Izalith. So was Quelaag, and so is the Fair Lady, whose covenant we joined. Nito, first of the dead, the skeleton that is composed of other skeletons. His existence still baffles me. And Seath the Scaleless. In addition, we also have to defeat the 4 kings, who were given fragments of Lord Gwyn's soul when Gwyn plunged himself into the first flame to try and prevent the world from ending. Now, we can do these in any order. After careful consideration, I've decided that I am going to go after Gravelord Nito first. His, I think, is going to be the easiest to do, and thus the one I want to do at the lowest level. There is still some preparation I need to do before I can do that, and I'm going to demonstrate why. If I can remember how to get through here. Oh, down this way. Because in order to get to Nito, we need to get through the catacombs, and after we're through the catacombs, we need to go through the Tomb of the Giants. We reach the catacombs through the graveyard. So let's try that, and let's see how far we make it. Come on, fellas. Already took a bit of damage. If you have a more strength-oriented weapon, when you hit the skeletons, they will just shatter. These guys are a bit less dangerous than they... These guys are a bit less dangerous than they were when I showed them off in the 2nd episode. Still can be a threat, and still give so few souls they're not really worth bothering with. We want to head for the lowest part of the graveyard. And that will take us into this hole. And now we are in the catacombs. Watch out for these floating heads, they explode. See what happened to that skeleton? Let's lure him out here. And we killed him. His health bar is depleted, he's dead. But we didn't get any souls. Let's just wait a second. And he puts himself back together. And comes after us again. Let's kill him again. See, it even made the "you just killed something" sound. And he puts himself back together. Well, third time's a charm. Let's try this once more. It's 2 heavy attacks. These guys aren't that dangerous. He should stay dead now. I've killed him 3 times. But nope. Nope. It's like skeleton whack-a-mole. He just insists on getting back up. He gets knocked down, he gets back up, ain't never gonna keep him down. The way it works is each skeleton is controlled by a necromancer. If you kill the necromancers will then not respawn again. And you can remember how to talk, and you can then kill the skeletons permanently once you've killed the necromancers. Or you can kill the skeletons with a divine ascended weapon, which will kill them permanently no matter what. I'm going to go get a divine ascended weapon. I already gave Andre the divine ember. So now I just need to ascend a level up a normal weapon up to +5 and then ascend it as divine. I even have the green titanite with which to do this. In addition to doing that, I'm also going to get myself a couple of boss weapons in preparation for this, and decide how to spend the several souls of a hero that I've got. But first, let's swing by Andre. It's not much of a trip. Just sprint a little. I use this elevator a lot, and not just to return to the Northern Undead Asylum. Okay. Through here. The Baldernites shouldn't trigger, but the guys out, the Hollow Soldiers will. Alright. Yeah, I'm up to the point where I can one-shot them. That's nice. Between my high dexterity stat and how much I've upgraded my Balder side sword. Just keep running. Hope I don't accidentally try to attack Andre again. I really don't want him mad at me. He hits hard. But this is one of the reasons why it was actually worth it to fight the Moonlight Butterfly. That and that the Moonlight Butterfly isn't really hard to kill.
Well, hello again. You seem to be doing all right. Need anything forged?
Yep. Let's see, what would be a good candidate? I want something that scales strongly with dexterity. Silver Knight straight swords are right, but it requires too much strength. I need that falchion for something else. Let's go with Richard's Rapier. That should be a good candidate. Has pretty good stats. It's a thrusting weapon, which isn't amazing against skeletons, but it's alright. Unfortunately, I need to buy some Titanite shards. I believe I need... Let's start with 4. Unfortunately, I don't have enough souls.
Yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Not at all what I was trying to do. Well, I have one more humanity now. What I actually wanted to do was use one of my souls of a hero, since I have 3 of them. Let's find out how many souls this gives us. 10,000. That should be at least plenty for our purposes.
Well, hello. You seem need any?
Alright. First weapon. Yeah, nothing else is gonna be. Yeah, there's nothing else that's gonna work, so I'll go with the Halberd. That's a Richard's Rapier, I mean. Just keep reinforcing it until it's maxed out. Okay, I probably need either 4 or 5 more Titanite shards in order to do that, so let's purchase them. Let's start with 4. 5. Oh, let's purchase one more. Weapon. And now we can't upgrade it. Now it doesn't even show up on the list because it's +5. However, if we select Modify Equipment, Modify Richard's Rapier. I could modify my Balder Side Sword, but it would undo most of the upgrades on it, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to modify Richard's Rapier. And now, Reinforced Weapon. Find Richard's Rapier on the list again, now that it's already divine, and just upgrade it as far as it will go with the green Titanite shards that I already have. After a while, it will start needing white Titanite. However, that actually will require ascending it a second time as divine.
Get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Okay. So now, I can switch my weapon over to... find it. My Divine Richard's Rapier +5, which as you can see does a whole bunch of magic damage. Let's test this thing out. Because I'm going to be using it a fair amount in the catacombs until the... what are they called? They're dead. Neat. Sort of like the Balder Side Sword. Let's go try this thing out. Come on, sprint. Oh right, I didn't rest at the bonfire, so those guys are still dead. That's quite nice. Does a bit less damage than the Balder Side Sword, but it's not bad. This character's faith stat is very poor, so I'm going to be relying on the fact that the Divine Auxiliary effect will actually cause it to cause extra damage to skeletons, and I'm only going to use it on skeletons that are controlled by a Necromancer, so that I can... since I'm only using it to keep them from getting back up. Anyway, before I end this part, I'm going to make 2 boss weapons, Quelaag's Furysword and the Crystal Ring Shield, but that requires me to have a +10 falchion and a +10 shield, which is going to take me a little while to get, so I'm going to go start a new recording file, and I'll be back in a moment when I have those weapons. Love you all. Alright. I'm back at the Giant Blacksmith with all the materials and souls required to create a couple of boss weapons. So first let's talk to him.
Hello, forge I can, strong I am.
And select Modify Equipment. This allows us to create lightning equipment. You notice that the 2 maxed out pieces of equipment I have are a falchion and a buckler, both leveled up to +10. Now if something is leveled up to normal +10, it can then be turned into lightning, crystal, if you find the crystal ember, which we haven't yet, or a boss weapon. The falchion +10 can be combined with Quelaag's soul and 5,000 souls to create Quelaag's Furysword. Let's do that. The other thing that I can make with a buckler +10 and the soul of the Moonlight Butterfly is the Crystal Ring Shield. It will, if you have the weapon that is required to make a particular boss weapon, it will tell you what boss soul you would need, but if you have the boss soul, it will not tell you what weapon you would need, which personally I think was a mistake. Alright, let's make the Crystal Ring Shield. Alright, and we're out of souls. Let's check these weapons out. Both are upgraded by Demon Titanite. Alright, Quelaag's Furysword. I don't remember where it ends up on the list. Hit delete. It does significantly less physical damage, but significantly more fire damage. So, let's see how it compares exactly. Alright, so 60 plus 37 versus, how is my Balder Side Sword is 144 plus 83, so around 250 total. Versus 90 plus 170 is a little more than 250. So Quelaag's Furysword actually does slightly more total damage, and it scales better with dexterity in exchange for scaling worse with strength. However, so let's equip that. The Baldur's Side Sword has been upgraded several times. Quelaag's Fury Sword has not been upgraded at all. Well, that's only sort of true, since I got this off of since I used a normal plus 10 weapon as the base. Technically speaking, this is Quelaag's Fury Sword plus 10. And let's check out the Crystal Ring Shield. This is the Crystal Ring Shield. Let's check it out. It has 100% damage reduction for magic. Or no, sorry, I'm looking at the damage for some reason. It has 90% damage reduction for magic, 70% for fire, but it has worse damage reduction for both physical and lightning. So I'm not going to be using it a whole lot, but when we take on the 4 kings, who use magic pretty much exclusively, I am going to use this shield, because it does some of the best magic damage reduction you can get. However, the Crystal Ring Shield has a second function. And that second function is this. If you hit the parry button, which is tab, it does that. Now this uses up the durability of the weapon. And since repairing the durability of a weapon of the shield, since repairing its durability will require souls, this is essentially spending souls to inflict damage, but that's kind of how arrows work. It does okay damage, too, when it hits a part that's susceptible. Now, Quelaag's Fury Sword is interesting. I'm going to see if I can get past. I'm gonna wait for this guy to go back. I don't want to. I killed most of the other enemies farming up the souls to do this, but I don't want to demonstrate this on the giant guards. So I'm going to run across and demonstrate it on the gargoyles. And I'm going to have my solid humanity set up. Those of you who know how chaos weapons work will already know what I'm getting at. Alright. Let's first duck in here and grab some regular old healing for my Estus Flask. You weren't supposed to follow me that far. Darn it. That's not what I meant. One of the downsides of the keyboard and mouse, it's easier to accidentally grab the wrong key. Okay, let's just use one of these guys as the demonstration. Hit him with the sword, did 33, then 73 damage. Now, use one humanity to have one liquid humanity. Tank that hit that I tried to dodge. Step out of the way of Wrath of the Gods. And it does more damage. And I didn't mean to use a solid humanity, I meant to use my Estus Flask and grab a solid, use a solid humanity on instinct. Let's get out of here, these guys aren't really worth fighting anymore. Sprint? Yes. Quelaag's Fury Sword is Chaos Ascended. However, unlike every other Chaos Ascended weapon in the game, I'll remind you, its damage scales with our stats. But see, the fire is 170 plus 12. So yes, Quelaag's Fury Sword is unique in that it is the only Chaos Ascended weapon that... Remember, Chaos Ascended means that its damage scales with your liquid humanity, so it deals extra damage because I have 2 liquid humanity. That also scales with any other stat. Normally when you ascend a weapon as Chaos, you give up its normal stat scaling. So that's one of the reasons why I like Quelaag's Fury Sword so much. And you may recognize that this is actually Quelaag was actually using this sword in our boss fight with her. It is a very nice sword. I'm gonna switch back to... I'll go with the Grass Crest Shield because I have a lot of running to do. Hop on the elevator. Let's try upgrading one of these to show off how upgrading with Demon Titan works. I feel like upgrading Quelaag's Fury Sword rather than the Crystal Ring Shield. Because frankly, upgrading the Crystal Ring Shield wouldn't get me much of a benefit, and I'm only really planning on using it for one boss fight. It was still worth making, and I wanted to show it off, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Alright? And, thankfully, I bought the weaponsmith box. So, reinforced weapon. And I need 5,000 souls to upgrade it. I don't believe I have any solid souls that I can use for that. You know what? I am never going to use the Soul of Smo. If you use it, what you get is you can use it to create his hammer, and it actually heals you a little bit when you hit people with it. But I don't need that, so I'm going to just consume it to get 12,000 souls. And now, I'm going to upgrade Quelaag's Furysword. Boss weapons are generally better than non-boss weapons. Though I like the way boss weapons were handled in Dark Souls 2 a bit better than the way that they were handled in Dark Souls 1. In Dark Souls 2, you just trade. You don't have to. You don't use a weapon as a boss soul as a catalyst to ascend a weapon. You just trade the boss soul to someone in exchange for, along with some regular souls, in exchange for a new piece of equipment. And what's more, Dark Souls 2 has boss spells. So there are spells that you get by giving the boss soul of a particular boss to someone. Anyway, that's the end for this part. I'm going to throw in as some bonus footage at the end of this part what it looks like if you try to open a mimic, and then why don't you join me all next time when I take on the crypt and a whole bunch of respawning skeletons. They'll never know what hit them. In the meantime, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Okay, everybody, just a bit of bonus footage. This is a mimic. You can tell if you look at it as a lighter coloration than this chest over here, and its chain is at a different angle. Oh, it's our old friend Smo. I never noticed that before. Now, let's see what happens if I try to open it. Oh, I survived. I was not expecting to survive that. Well, let's take a quick drink, and then let's punish this thing for trying to torment me. So it doesn't... Also, I've never actually been eaten by a mimic before. I didn't know that it doesn't go into its active state if you try to open it. It just bites you, and then if you survive, it lets you go. Well, that's gone. Plenty of souls, and let's see what it gave us. A crystal halberd. That's nice. Now let's see what's in this chest, and then I'm going to go do the other side. Twinkling Titanite, that'll be good. I can use that to upgrade my gargoyle helmet. Now I'm just going to quick sprint across here. May as well get myself fully healed. Also, I did level up. I put some points into endurance, attunement, vitality, and dexterity, pretty much evenly distributed across all of those stats. Haven't gained a new attunement slot yet. Hopefully I will soon. And these guys are also guarding treasure, and guarding what appears to be a statue of Ornstein. Nice bit of foreshadowing of who we're going to be fighting here. And apparently the shields did stop that. That's irritating. Yeah, these guys have shields that block 100% of every form of damage and that have a really wonky hitbox. This is why I don't normally fight these giants. No amount of souls is worth having to deal with these guys. expecting him to survive that. Okay, now he's down. Once I'm dealing with just one of them, it becomes a bit easier to lead his movements. The trick is, get under them and then hit them with combustion, or melee. That shield slam attack is actually good because it's very slow. That is good for me. And he's down. But you're seeing now why I don't normally fight these guys. Okay, last chest. Not a mimic. Gonna mimic test it anyway, just because I can. And what do we get? Demon Titanite. That's always useful. At some point I need to get around to actually creating Quelaag's Furysword and the Crystal Ring Shield. Alright. And that's the end of that. So I guess roll outtakes. After that, I'll see you next time. I love you all.